Hello, in this video I will do an ASVAB arithmetic reasoning practice test, and this would be exam 4. Let's begin. So question 1 says, what is the area of the following figure? So it looks like we have two figures or two shapes. Yeah, we have two shapes. We have a square and a triangle, right? So what is the area of a square? It is side times side or side square. And then what is the area of a triangle? Base times height over 2. So I think I think the triangle is pretty simple. We have everything we need. You do not need to find this hypotenuse. Why? Because we have everything we need. The base is 3, the height is 4. So base is 3, the height is 4 all over 2. 3 times 4 is 12 over 2, which is 6. Okay, and then the area of a square is side times side. So they give you one side, which is 4. And what do we know about squares? In a square, all sides are the same. Okay. So the area is going to be 4 by 4 or 16. So you find the total area. So total area would be just add up all the sides. So it's 16 plus 6, which is 12, 22. Okay. D. Okay. That wasn't too bad, right? Okay, good. Let's move on. Question 2. If 4 crates are needed to hold 32 kilograms of apples, how many crates are needed for 80 kilograms? So when I've been doing these problems, I noticed that when you're doing word problems, it's either related to a linear equation, right? Or so linear equation is like y equals mx plus b, or they usually put it in a proportion. So I'm not saying all the time, but most of the time it's either a linear equation or proportion. I know this is definitely proportion. So how do we set it up as a proportion? You set it up like this, and you can set up however you like it. If you want to put crates, what are units? Our units are crates, so you could put crates on the top. And then what are other units? Kilograms. You could put kilograms on the bottom. So that means that this has to be crates and this has to be kilograms. So you could set it up any way, like just make sure that this goes with this and this goes with this. That's all you need to know. So let's just fill in our blanks. So if we have 4 crates, so 4 to hold 32 kilograms, so 32 here. How many crates are needed? So how many crates is our unknown, so we'll call that X, for 80 kilograms. So put 80 here. Okay. Then all you got to do is cross multiply. So 32 times X is 32X equals to 4 times 80. Okay, I know 4 times 80, well, I know that 8 times 4 is 32. Carry the 0. It's all for x by dividing both sides by 32, right? So this cancels. And then what's 320 divided by 32? I think it's 10, but you can do the box if you forget. So 320, 32, put a 1 here, bring down the 0, you have 10. So it would require 10 crates for 80 kilograms. Okay, not too bad, right? I think there's like a last problem on this section that's might be a little bit difficult without a calculator. I'll explain. Question 3. Amanda can read 3 pages Amanda could read one page in 3 minutes. If a book has 120 pages, how long will it take her to read the entire book? So I know this is a word problem and I know it's a proportion. Okay. So how do we set it up? Like this? How do we make our units? You can set it up however you like. See, Amanda could read one page in 3 minutes. So our units will be page. You could put page on the top, and then on the bottom it could be minutes, right? Same thing here. This could be page, and then this would be minute. So Amanda could read one page in 3 minutes. So one page in 3 minutes. If a book has 120 pages, so 120 pages, how long will it take her to read the entire book? So they're asking for time is our unknown, so we'll put X. Okay. Go ahead and cross multiply. So 1 times X is X. And then it's 3 times 120 is 3 times 120. This is definitely doable without a calculator. What's 3 times 120? 0. 3 times 2 is 6. 360. So it would take exactly 360 minutes to read 120 page. Okay, question 4. Posters are typically priced at $4 each. How much money is saved if 7 posters are bought on sale for $3.10? So you're gonna have to subtract. So let's figure out how much it would cost for original price. So original, it costs $4 each, and then there's about 7 post or exactly 7 posters. So 7 times 4 is 28. So this is without the discount, it would cost $28. Now they're saying that if you buy a bundle for three, it costs $10. So we need a total of 7. So 3 posters is $10. We're going to need another 3 posters, which is another $10. And then we need one more poster because we want a total of 7. So 1 poster, we can't use the discount, so you're just going to have to use the $4, right? Put it all together. What's 10 plus 10 plus 4? $24. Okay. Now all you got to do is do subtraction. So because we're trying to figure out the savings. So 28 minus 24. That's pretty simple without a calculator. That would just be $4. So you're saving $4 if you do the pack, right? The sale for $3 for $10. So that's still good. That's good. I mean, I would definitely buy the pack. Okay, Sarah eats 1/5 of a blueberry pie and divides the remainder of the pie among her 5 friends. What fraction of the pie does each of her friends receive? So this one's a little bit strange. Um, Imagine you have a pie and it's broken into 5 pieces. So here's one, this is four, and then I mean these are definitely not even, but you get the idea. There's 5 pieces. One, two, three, 4, 5. So Sarah eats 1/5 of it, so 1/5, and she divides the remainder among her friends. So if she only it's she eats 1 piece, how many pieces are left? One, two, three, 4. So she divides it by 4. So this one's a little bit strange because you have a complex fraction. Don't worry. It's okay to have a complex fraction. Just note the 1/5 is your numerator and the 4 is your denominator. So what you're going to do is just kind of like, this is a 5, by the way. What you're going to do is rewrite this. It's going to be 1/5, and then divide sign, 4 or 4 over 1. Then what you could do is change the divide sign into multiplication, or you can just cross multiply. That's what I'm going to do. So 1 times 1 is 1, and then 4 times 5 is 20. That is wrong because I made a mistake. What mistake did I do? Yes, I made a mistake. Okay, so yeah, scratch that. It should be, yeah. So imagine you have a pie that has 5 pieces, and Sarah eats 1/5 and divides the remainder of pies among her 5 friends. Oh, I see. So you're just dividing it by 5. That's it. So it's still a complex fraction. So what is 1/5 divided by 5? So 1/5 is your numerator, 5 is your denominator. So that could be written as 1 over 5 divided by 5 over 1. Okay, go ahead and cross multiply. So that's going to be 1 over. No, I messed up again. I did it. I keep messing up. Okay, I get it. Sarah eats 1/5 of the blueberry pie and divides the remainder of the pie among her 5 friends. So if she eats 1 piece, that means there's only 4 pieces, right? So if Sarah eats 1 piece, that means there's a total of 4 out of 5, and then she's going to divide that by her 5 friends. So you're going to divide that by 5. Okay, so that can be a bit confusing. So Sarah eats 1/5, so that means there's 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 4 out of 5 left, and then she divide that by 5. So it's still a complex fraction. This is your numerator, this is your denominator. So you could just say 4/5 divided by 5 over 1, and then you may cross multiply. So this is 4 over, or 1 times 4 is 4, and then 5 times 5 is 25. It cannot be reduced. It's letter D. Okay, question 6. A can of varnish, I have no idea what varnish is. A can of varnish covers 300 square foot. How many cans of varnish are needed to cover an area of 1900 square foot? So it looks like you would have to just simple division. This is just simple division. Um, you would just do 1900s, the amount total area 1900 divided by 1 can covers 300, so divide this by 300. Or you could simplify this first, right? You can divide the zeros, so it's really 19 over 3. And then 6 times 3 is 18. Carry the 1, bring down the 0. How many times does 3 go into 10? 3. And then if you keep on going, the thing is, the thing is, you want to cover this 1900. 6.3 isn't going to cut out. I mean, you can't have a point 0.3 can, right? So it's better to have a little bit more cans to cover that entire area. So yeah, as you can see, if you just do 6 cans, you need exactly 6.3. So that's not going to cover the entire 1900. So you're just going to round it to 7, right? Because it's better to have 7 cans to cover a 1900. 6 is too small. So don't be fooled by that problem. Question 7. Um, figure consists a figure consists of 6 equal squares. If the total area is 486 square units, what is the perimeter of this figure? So what do we know about squares? We know squares have all side lengths that are the same, right? And if the total area is 486, so let's just find, so if the total area is 486, and when there's a total of 6 squares, right? So if I do 486 divided by 6, you get 81. What does 81 mean? It just means that one square has an area of 81. That's it. So if one square has an area of 81, what is the side lengths? 9, right? Because in a square, what is the area of a square? Length times width. And if one area of a square is 81, that means that this side has to be 9, this has to be 9, and then this has to be 9, and then this has to be 9, right? Because in a square, all sides are the same. So now let's find the perimeter. So if every side length is 9, including this, what is the perimeter? So just add up all the sides. So this has a total of how many sides? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's 9 times 6 plus over here, this is the same idea, 9 times 6. And then there's a 9 here and a 9 there, so that's like 9 times 2. Okay. So the perimeter would be 9 times 6 is 54. 9 times 6 is 54. 9 times 2 is 18. What is 54 plus 54 plus 18? 126. So that would be letter D. Okay, so for this problem, you need to know that in a square, all sides are the same. And to find the area of one square, I just divided the total area, 486, by the number of squares, 6, and I get 81, which represents one square has an area of 81. Good. Question 8. Derek weighs 145 pounds. If he gains 3 pounds per week, how much will he weigh in 6 weeks? So remember how we said uh, most of these problems are either proportion word problems or linear equation. I believe this word problem is going to be a linear equation. Um, why? I feel like it's in the form of y equals mx plus b, right? So yeah, you have to just recognize that. So what do you think? Well, first let's label our variables. What is our x? Our x would be the amount of weeks. And what is our y? Pounds. The weight, right? Weight. Okay. Now what we got to do is figure out our m and our b. So the b is pretty simple. It's your given point. They tell you as it is. It's just like a fixed point. So which of these could be a fixed point? Derek weighs 145 pounds, or if he gains 3 pounds per week. Right. The b is definitely 145. The m is like the uncontrolled value. It's the value that we're not really sure of. If he gains 3 pounds per week, we don't really know the total amount, right? Because we don't know how much weeks. So our m is going to be 3. So our equation is going to be y, or y of x, is equal to 3x plus 145. Okay. Once you do that, then you got to plug in your x value, your input. They're saying how much will he weigh in 6 weeks? So you just do y of 6 equals 3 times 6 plus 145. So 3 times 6 is 18 plus 145. What is 18 plus 145? It is Uh, I'm sorry. 145 plus 18 is 163. Okay, so you can do this definitely without a calculator. That's definitely doable. Okay, not too bad, right? Question 9. Jordan completed a race in 90 seconds. Emily completed the same race in 2.5 minutes. What is the difference between their times? So you obviously think it is a subtraction problem, but if you look at our choices, everything's in seconds. So all we got to do is convert everything in seconds. So let's convert, the only thing that isn't in seconds is this 2.5 minutes. So let's convert 2.5 minutes into seconds. So you can set it up as like a stoichiometry, right? Um, you're gonna put the minutes units in the bottom and what is it? The seconds on the top. So we know that in 1 minute there's exactly 60 seconds. So what's 2.5 times 60? So without a calculator, you can do that, right? 2.5 times 60, it would be 5, 0, 0. 6 times 5 is 30, carry the 3. 6 times 2 is 12. 13, 14, 15, 12, 13, 14, 15. And all together is 5, 0, 1, 5. And then count how many decimal places. There's a total of 1. So this is 1. So it's going to be 150.5 seconds. Did I do that right? We know that 1 minute is, what did I do wrong? I messed up on the simple multiplication. So let me do that again. 2.5 times 60. Is this 5 times 0 is 0. 0 times 0 is 0. Placeholder. 6 times 5 is 30. Carry the 3. 6 times 2 is 12. 13, 14, 15. Oh, there we go. Gosh, it's so easy to make a mistake. And then I count how many decimal places are a total of 1. So move this 1 place. So it's actually 150 seconds. So all you got to do is do 150 minus 9. That's it. It's 10. This is 4. Can I do? Yeah, 150. Oh, it's 150 minus 90. Why am I? Yeah, this would be 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. That's 6. 60 seconds. Good. Question 10. A bus ride costs $2.50 for the first mile and $1.25 for each additional half mile. So this is half a mile. What is the cost of 7 miles? So how would we set this up? Okay, so let's figure out the cost of 7 miles. So cost of 7 miles ride. So for 1 mile, it was given as 250 plus And then we're gonna need additional 6 more miles, right? So we know that it's $1.25 for each additional half a mile. So it's not six because this we want a full mile, so a half a mile would be 12, right? So instead of multiplying 1.25 by 6, you're going to multiply by 12 because this only represents a half a mile. We need two half a miles makes 1 mile, right? So this is why I doubled 6 by 12. Okay. So, yeah, so what's 1.25 times 12? This would be 5 times 2 is 10. Carry the 1, 4, 5. 1 times 2 is 2. Placeholder. 1 times 5 is 5. Times 2 is 2. 1 times 1 is 1. 0, 10, 4, 5, 1, 1, 2, 1, 15. And then what's 15 plus 250? 0, 5, 7, 1750. Good. Okay, 11. You have 25 pennies and 15 quarters. What is the total amount of money you have? Simple, right? 25 pennies is the same thing as 25 cents plus 15 quarters. A quarter represents 25 cents. Add them up. So what's 15 times 0.25 or 25 times 15? 5 times 5 is 25, carry the 2. 5 times 2 is 10, carry the 2 is 12. 0, 1 times 5 is 5. 1 times 2 is 2. This is 5. 5 plus 2 is 7. 2 plus 1 is 3. And count how many decimal places that's total 2. That's 375 plus 0.25, 10, 8, 9, 10, $4. Yep. Okay. Emma walked, question 12. Emma walked 2 miles in 30 minutes on Monday, 3 miles in 45 minutes on Tuesday, and 4 miles in 60 minutes on Wednesday. What was Emma's average rate of speed? So if you look at other choices, look how the units are expressed. Minutes per minute. So the speed is minutes per minute. So that's very important. So you have to put minutes on the top and then miles on the bottom. Okay. Do not do miles per minute. It's minutes per mile because that's how you express speed. Okay. So what was her speed or her rate on Monday? Her Monday rate was what was it? So we're going by minutes on Monday. We're going by minutes per mile. So on Monday, it was 30 minutes over 2 miles, right? And then 30 over 2 comes out nicely as 15. So 15 minutes per mile. And then let's do Tuesday. What was her speed on Tuesday? According to it said she ran 45 minutes and 3 miles. So what's 45 over 3? 15 minutes per mile. Okay. What about Wednesday? Um, Wednesday, it looks like she ran 60 minutes and 4 miles. when you simplify that, 15 divided by 4 is 15. So it looks like all her speed is the same. Um, but te what is her average rate? So how do you take the average? You basically added them all up and divided by the number of days, right? So first Monday was 15, the other one was 15, Wednesday was 15, and then you're going to divide it by 3 because there was a total of only 3 days. And that still gives you 15 minutes per mile. Okay. So be careful on this one. Just make sure your units are correct. Um, Minutes is on the top and miles on the bottom. It's not miles per minute. Okay. This one is okay. This one is a little bit tricky, especially on a time of exam. So it's tricky because you have to do some calculation. But there's another way we could do that. Okay, so I'm going to 13. A savings account earns 3.5 interest each year. How much interest is earned on a 2,500 deposit after a 4-year period? So when I hear the word interest and uh you're going to use this special formula. You can use this formula. A equals P times 1 plus R over N raised to the NT. Okay. So you use this formula, but I really don't like this because you can't use a calculator. So well, let's what we have. Our principal is our starting point. So we started at 2,500 and our rate is 3.5%. So just move that two places to the left. So it's 1, 2. So that would be 0.035. Our time is 4 years, and our n is compounded yearly, so our n is 1. Okay, so if you put it exactly in the formula, it's going to be 2,500, 1 plus r, which is 0.035. N is 1, raise it to the nt, so it's 1, and then times it by 4. And then 1 times 4 is 4. Okay, um, this is where it gets tricky. I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't know how you could do this without a calculator. 1 plus 0.035 is 1.035. Then you have to raise it to the fourth. How could you do this without a calculator? I don't know how. I mean, I don't know how you could do this without a calculator. So this is where I'm going to introduce you to another formula. So wait, let me show you. So then what you do is after you figure that out and somehow you miraculously figure out how to do this without a calculator, that's not your answer, by the way. It's so when you figure this out, it's gonna be like 2868 2868.81. So what you gotta do to find the interest is you're gonna subtract this amount by your original 2,500, right? You're gonna subtract 2868.81 minus 2,500. And you should get 368.81, right? It will be letter B. So I don't know how you're going to do this without a calculator. I mean, I could not do this I tried doing it without a calculator. So there's another formula you could try. It's called this interest equals P times RT. Now, it didn't give me exactly 368, but it kind of gave me like around that ballpark. So this is much easier. So my principal is 2,500. My rate is 0.035. My time is 4. This is definitely more doable. But when you do that, um, you get 350. Now, you look at your choices. You're obviously going to pick 360 because that's the closest. I mean, 280 is not even no. 400 is just too much. 870 is way too much. So 368 would be the best choice. So that I find that one a little bit difficult because you can't use a calculator. Okay. 14. A laptop originally costing $800 goes on sale for 30% off. In the following week, it is discounted an additional 15%. What is the new sales price of the new laptop? Uh, this one there's no formulas you need to know. What you're going to do is figure out how much it costs, how much it would cost after the 30% off. Then you got to figure out the cost after the additional 15% off, right? So we can do this one. So how much would it cost? So first we need to know what is 30% of 800? Well, 30% is a decimal. We said you can write it as a decimal as 0.30. The word of means multiplication and times it by 800. So 0.30 times 800 is 240. You know, you can do this without a calculator, right? Um, yeah. And then what you're going to do is, so that's how much you get cut off. Like that's how much 30% off. You subtract 240. So it's 800 minus 240, which is 560. Okay. So this is the cost after the 30% off. Now, what is the cost after the 15%? So you're going to do 15% of 560. So 15% is 0.15. The word of means 560. And you could definitely do this without a calculator. So 0.15, 560 times 0.15 is 84. So all you got to do is subtract 560 from 84, and you got your new price, or your final price. Just 476. Not too bad, right? Definitely doable. Question 15. If 5 cans of soda cost 650, how much 15 cans cost? So this is definitely a proportion. It would be cans and then soda. Okay. If 5 cans cost 650, so 5 cans, 650, how much is 15 cans? The 15 here, and then how much do 15 cans cost? So our unknown is soda. Wait, how much do 15 cans? Yeah, we're given 15 cans. We don't know how much soda. Go ahead and cross multiply. So that's 5 times x equals to 15 times 650. So what's 15 times 650? It is 97.5. And then divide this by 5. Definitely doable. How many times does 5 go into 9? Once. 9 minus 5 is 4. How many times does 5 go into 47? 9. 47 minus 45 is 2. Bring down the 5. Yep, 1950. Okay. If you want to check it, I believe it's going to be 100 because I already did this one. Yep. Okay. So yeah, that was exam 4. Okay, I am going to stop here.